I think they should have turned it into a song. It sounds great.
They may have tried, and it was like, this is not you're not.
Dude, the way Raby sings is so crazy. He can like get down on anything.
Yo, I saw there's a set. I think it's them. It might be 88 or 89, and I think it's in Connecticut, and I think it's like a show that like Ray Capo put on or whatever, because you see all the youth of the day dudes like moshing in the crowd, and so like they come out and they just put that record out, and like they play the intro, and like it makes sense why it's a fucking intro.
Yeah,
it totally does when you watch it in a live setting, because Ray ain't there yet, so it's like each three dudes, like Crazy J Skin, like all these dudes with like the coolest accents, and they're like, yo, we're gonna start playing, like it's just like.
But I think it's like, wild to have a fast part in like an intro.
Yeah, and I think that's
all.
Okay, nowadays, like every intro that a band's write is just gonna be like all the pits, like slow pits, where I think like back then, like people loved the fast shit, like people wanted the fast shit, so I think that's why it's in there, but. No,
it's so great. They can bring the other part back.
Yeah. Oh, too. When it jumps, and then some of the coolest dive bombs like ever.
Yeah, and just the skit, like it's at the time hip hop is very skit heavy as well. And Ray, if you look at any of his pictures, he's just as influenced. I mean, he's rocking Public Enemy stuff left, right, and center.
Well, first of all, like Warzone style could just be another podcast. Yeah. Like those dudes had fucking. Those dudes had some style, like steez. Like you just look at like what those dudes are rocking, like gear wise.
Like I mean, people have remade that hat, the Get Wise hat. Absolutely. Do you know what I mean?
It's sick.
Yeah,
and it's good advice.
Super 7 needs to just make a Ray figure. Yeah,
for sure. My entry point to this was the CD that was on Another Planet, like in the
Open Your Eyes.
Yeah, exactly, and. It was just a vast difference of the Don't Forget the Struggle songs were just so much more correct. Do you know what I mean? Like, if I think of the atypical New York hardcore sound, obviously Angel Quarrel, obviously Victim in Pain, those are, but when I actually think of the sound, the way that New York hardcore was commenting on New York hardcore, like, this is the record, this is the sound is perfected. His vocals, he may not be the strongest, but it's style. Like the style that he delivers things. And
well, it's also one of those albums where like I'm kind of convinced that I've probably heard every track on it covered by a band at a show just across the planet. Pretty fucking sure, because it's just one of those. Like,
even Fighting for Your Country.
But that
maybe in Richmond or Virginia Beach, I might have heard that one there.
So there was, I got into the CD, and then you start. I'd already been aware of what the artwork looked like, but it was one of those things that same thing as AF. Like Skinheads championed this band, and they were the fucking dicks of the scene, and. It kept me away a little bit longer than I should have, but fuck, once I actually got this on vinyl, like finally got first press and just fuck.
You had it on Fist, huh?
No,
what's the first press?
The first of Caroline, not the. Yeah,
I had it and sold it.
Yeah,
and I sold my Caroline one too. I had two. Didn't I sell one to you?
No.
Oh, I sold one to someone. I don't know. I got it again now.
Yeah.
But I think I bought a nice boot. It was super cheap, and then Rev repressed it.
Yeah,
but they did that.
What they did with the artwork.
Well, it's because they couldn't get the rights to the original one.
What was different?
No, that's what Colin told me.
That's weird.
So they had to do that like embossed, like in gloss kind of. Yeah, that's
scratched.
They weren't able to get like the original, like the rights for it.
Well, it looks,
and you know what's crazy?
Better than the Victim in Pain.
Yeah. At least they were able to like.
When the repress came out, I bought the bundle on Rev. I got the hoodie of the thing, and then I'm like,
you're
in
gonna
2018,
you're gonna wear a white hoodie with an Iron Cross and American flag with
Exactly.
your
With a bald head.
San Francisco, dude.
I wore it
that's
one
gonna
day.
like go over well.
Shit, I bought at Timeless, the coffee shop up in Oakland that RJ from Rely shout out.
Let's talk about. We can talk Rely.
Yeah.
Well, actually, I got a great point. We can talk about
Because
Rely.
we're gonna powerhouse your brains.
That's
out
right.
soon, right?
In the 90s.
But I was wearing a Uniform Choice Straight and Alert hoodie, and I was just being mad dogged by this lesbian couple across the thing from.
Oh my god.
From at the brunch at Timeless, and I said to Alana, the barista there, she was like, "Holy shit! I never even would have thought of it in that context." So. Both the Warzone and the UC hoodies are both in the back of the closet for now.
Dude, when my first band recorded this band called It Doesn't Matter, I was like 15 or 16. It's me and Todd's band, and I had this lyric. It was actually about like the vice principal of our high school or something. Like he gave me detention or some shit over some bullshit. I think it was over having like this giant chain wallet with a giant I had like this lock on the end of it. They're like, it could have killed anyone.
Yeah.
Anyway. So I write this song, and one of the lyrics on it says, "I wish you were a horse so I could beat you when you're dead." Just like stupid, right? And there was this girl there, like at the studio, and when I sang that line, like she like berated me for like animal abuse, and I was like, "No, it's
You never heard that
it's a phrase like
don't
beating a dead horse." She's like, "I never heard of that." And then she was just like mad at me. It was like, what? It was like, dude. There's some comedian that talks about it. He's like, how many like fist fights are avoided now that like there's internet on your phone? Because like that chick could have like kicked the shit out of me, fuck you for like talking about beating horses,
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, it's a phrase. It's a phrase. Fuck you. Like,
well, I mean, it's like with any of these types of imagery and artwork, it's like, well, welcome to like what any skinhead will have to face just walking down the fucking street. But it's like, hey, if that's what you're gonna do, like you gotta be prepared to roll with that, So
is this on either of your lists?
no, crazy, huh?
It's not.
That's wild.
I know,
Yeah, well-
because I love this. The 80s and 90s are hard because,
Yeah.
dude, we love hardcore music, right? I fucking love hardcore music, and so like,
Just think of
Yeah,
that little
dude,
bass rock that happens in the intro, though. That
dude, okay,
I can't ever sing a tune right, so I won't.
we were talking,
You do it.
we were talking about maybe doing one on like underrated records.
Yeah.
And dude, I was listening to the Florida Powerhouse yesterday, and I love that record so much, and like no one has heard it. It's the closest sounding to Side by Side there is, and like those songs are so catchy and well thought out for like kind of playing youth crew hardcore, and the lyrics are good, and it's just like, man, there is so much stuff that's like lost to history. Anyway,
Yeah, there is.
sorry, the Warzone didn't make it, and I love this record. I mean, I wish we could do a top 50, but
Yeah, if you're trying to pick 5 hardcore LPs of the 1980s, I mean that's just so fucking hard. I mean, I don't even know how some of these made my top. I mean, I guess I had to go through like influence, like just the sheer like influence it had on the genre.
For me, 2003 to 2012, like hardcore pretty much wouldn't exist without. I mean, it would exist obviously, but a lot of bands channeled Warzone.
Oh, absolutely. 100%.
Like almost all the bands channeled Warzone.
I love the split with Cause for Alarm. Those Warzone songs are probably my favorite Warzone songs.
More than this?
No, it's close, but all 4 of the songs, including Skinhead Warrior Girl, are fucking sick. Starting out with Bullshit Authority. Bullshit Authority. Da-da-da-da. And then,
I think
then his straight edge song? Fucking, and the superior version than the LP. What the fuck is that song called?
I think this record came out at the time that you were loving and defining yourself as a hardcore kid so much more than, because if you
Perseverance.
If you
deep
just-
inside me, a vision that's meant to be fire, burning in our soul, drug free. My life's goal. What song is that? It's on the split.
You're asking me song titles? I can't even tell you song titles of my own band.
Dude, that's Warzone doing a straight edge song. That should be your favorite song.
I'm just saying, if you
Free
empirically...
at last. Free at last, PCP.
If you empirically looked at this record next to anything else they did, this is the winner.
Of course.
Yeah.
That's why it's so crazy, though, that they come back with, like, these 4 songs on one side of a 10-inch, like, 10 years later,
yeah.
10, 12 years later. And it's, like, fucking ridiculous. It's so good. You should listen to the songs, both of you guys, like, today. It's that good. It's that good. Like, we can pause it right now and listen to them.
I just heard your rendition. It has me hooked.
Yeah. But that's
It's literally Rabies singing a straight edge song.
I don't know. It's like
So sick.
I know.
it's
You
like
used to have X'd up gloves.
on my list. It's like, look, like I don't have any Youth of Today shit on my list. Like I don't have
Sure.
Warzone shit on my list.
Hold
Like, I
my
don't.
non-alcoholic beer.
Yeah, I don't have any of these on my list because to me these are so like established standards, and it's like, I mean, you might as well put all these in a fucking Hall of Fame, like in my opinion. So
Yeah.
and I can understand why I didn't make yours because it's like you said, we all love hardcore, and like it's hard. Like
Some
like,
of us more than others.
damn. So it's hard to like data
Who are you
mine.
ranking? Okay, you, me, and Greg. Who likes hardcore the most?
Greg.
It's hard
And
to
then Zach.
like I
And
said,
then me.
it's fucking really goddamn hard to pick like 5, and for some reason I don't even know how I came up with my list. I guess it's just like what I continue to always listen to and what I can always put on and not get tired of it. And it's just like, well, don't forget the struggle. It's like you hear it for the first time, you play it and play it and play it till you never have to play it ever again because it's just like in your brain.
But
Like I can play the record in my brain. I can play the Youth of, like any Youth of Today record in my brain.
That's
You know what
why
I'm
I
saying?
think it's really interesting that we do these things, because you guys are wired differently to where, okay, I've played that record so much that I don't have to listen to it again. I'm the person that has 15 records that I want to hear for the rest of my life, and then I can do without the rest.
Which yeah,
And
which makes
that's
sense
where I'm
because
at.
it's almost like you discover an album, right? And it's just like time and place for you, and it's just like what you're listening to for like 4 months straight, right? And so where it's like you just don't have to listen to it because it's just like I can play it in my head, or it's like, oh, if someone comes on, it like transports you right back into that.
Well, I had 2 copies of it, and I have no idea why. So obviously, I needed the money at some point, but like my collection felt naked without it. I had to get it again. It's like, I don't know. It just feels weird to have like a record collection without that album in it.
Yeah.
I have to have it. Everyone has it, right?
Yeah.
I
Greg?
actually don't.
We got to get you one. I got to track down that bootleg I bought. It's perfect. You want me to go?
Or just get the ref one.
Yeah.
And with
just-
the
I don't-
hoodie as the bundle.
Who's up next?
You are.
So this is gonna be like, you know, some people might not. This could be like a yeah, duh.
DRI thrash.
No,
4 on the floor.
no, Suicidal Tendencies, self-titled first record.
Suicide's an alternative. Well, I got a little story to tell.
Oh, great.
So
I mean,
and-
another one that like, I don't know. I feel dumb not having it Hall of Famed.
Okay, so
I would.
So okay, so here's why, and it's funny because I think it gets kind of like overlooked, not overlooked, but I don't think it gets taken seriously because it's like, oh, it's just this like, oh, he really wanted that Pepsi kind of shit, but
No.
okay, and because here's another thing, so I'm looking at like everything for like every like SoCal hardcore release or like SoCal punk stuff, right? And I feel like this record really captures like the true Southern California subculture shit. Because if you listen to like whatever, like Adolescence, TSOL, like all these bands, right? Like you have like, it's definitely more like suburban, like white kid stuff, right?
A little bit of silliness.
A little bit of silliness.
We're all scientists in a lab.
Where Suicidal, it's got like all of SoCal subculture in this fucking record. So we have like skate, we have surf, we
Gang
have
shit.
like gang shit, we have graffiti, we have like, you know, Mexicans, we have like it's got like all of it.
Mm-hmm.
I think all in one like package. And I mean, dude, like Suicidal Failure, when you fucking put that record on, I remember the first time hearing it, which is like, don't go. He's like, yeah, like it sounds like fucking insane. Like it's immediately like if you're like your parents are like, what are you listening to? You go like, Suicidal Tendencies. Like first of all, that fucking name, right? So immediately your parents are gonna be like, or anyone's gonna be like, oh my god, like that fucking name, right? And then if you hear the opening track where it's just like that, and I'll do it again, yeah, like, what? And he's just like brainwash, like, and then it kicks in, and it's just like Sick of Life, it sucks, and it's just like and then, all right, so it's ripping fucking hardcore, ripping, all right, and it has like almost this like SoCal like surf twang to the guitars, and then this is pre-crossover era shit. We have solos on it, which is kind of crazy because this is, I think, this record's 83, and so we have like shredding, but it's like punk shredding, but it's really good. It's Grant Estes, I think. I probably said his last name wrong, but just all the hits are on it, like.
Yeah, again, it gets cut up. It's like when I was talking about the UC album, and actually the Chromex album too. Like the two slow songs, sometimes I wish they weren't on there, and I know that's sacrilegious, but you know, because like this album without like I can't ever listen to Institutionalized again in my life, or I Saw Your Mommy. Like both those songs, like I just don't want to hear them ever again.
Do you think I Saw Your Mommy? They sued L7 for Pretend We're Dead. It's L7 Pretend We're Dead.
I thought it was the Puddle of Mud. She hates me.
I know that song well. No, L7 Pretend We're Dead. Listen to that.
Yeah.
It's the riff. It's the same fuzz on the guitar. Everything. It's wild.
I just think it's in my top 5 because of it's such like. I think it's a total like genre defining thing.
I Want More.
Yeah.
I love that song.
Absolutely. And then I think just for them to succeed, because I mean,
hold on. Wait 1 sec.
Oh
yeah,
great
absolutely.
radio.
Yeah. This is what I get for fucking putting DRI production.
Yeah.
So. Oh yeah, totally. Wow.
Okay, come on.
Okay. No,
you don't want to hit. You're gonna be sued,
dude. Because they
I
were.
don't know. I get it. Now this can't be on iTunes.
No,
but then we'll sue them on behalf of
Shit.
Suicidal.
Well, because they were fucking hated by like a lot of fucking people.
Moms everywhere.
So they were just.
They were also hated in the punk scene for the crowd they brought to the shows that fucking kicked off with everyone and hurt people.
Absolutely. But I don't know. I just think like still that thing, it gives me chills because I hadn't listened to it for a long time, and I was trying to put together this list, and I was, once again, you do personal preferences, and I try to find like a genre defining record or something that like creates a fucking bomb.
Just
the fact that like they were getting MTV play is crazy.
It's a crazy record. I'm really glad it got on here.
Yeah, and
all the skate videos.
Yeah, and I think it's because people it can be written off easy because everyone's like, oh, I don't ever need to hear Institute, which I totally get. But it's like if you revisit it, and
but that's just why it's hard. Like I don't put on the vinyl
for sure,
and that's basically how, I don't know. When I'm driving now, I listen to podcasts, and when I'm at home, I listen to records.
Yeah,
and I'm not trying to get up in the middle to like skip the needle.
When he's like, dude, I shot the devil. He's like,
fuck yeah,
shot Ray.
Dude,
fuck
yeah, I know.
So that's why it's there.
I know.
That's why it's fucking there.
That still gets you if you see him.
Yeah,
and he says that shit, and it's like.
Yeah, and like just his like his voice. Like just his voice. I don't know. Yeah, I can't.
All right, let's talk about great singing.
Yeah, but he has to be. He can be Hall of Fame for this. So, I wouldn't put it there, but you can make an argument. But he should also be castigated to the Hall of Shame for Infectious Grooves.
Okay. Okay. Hey,
I didn't see that coming. I'm sorry.
There's you need to check out the infectious.
No, you gotta check out 25 spits.
There's an infectious grooves track called Therapy, which Ozzy does the horse. He's like therapy. It's hard. It's fucking hard, dude.
Is what's his name from Metallica crab walking all over the place while playing it?
In the band.
All right, more great singing. I'm going Verbal Assault Trial, 1987.
It's a banger, but that's for putting forward top 5 80s hardcore records. I mean, it's a banger, but that is the equivalent of doing kind of a deep cut for this.
How's that a deep cut? Because it sounds like nothing else, and it's some of my favorite music in the
No,
world.
but that's what I'm saying. Like the longevity of it,
Yeah,
makes it a deep cut. I'm not saying that it is not right.
Yeah,
I'm just saying. Do you know what I mean? It's kind of like hipster's choice.
You think this is a hipster's choice?
Not necessarily like that, but I'm saying the amount of people's list that it would be on would be just people who are very much that have spent some time with that record. Is what I'm saying.
Well, yeah, I spent time with it. It's one of my favorite records.
Yeah,
I've listened to it a million times, and it never gets old.
It's not a diss.
Okay,
I'm not taking it as a diss. I'm
like
just
for
saying
instance, I've listened to "Don't Forget the Struggle, Don't Forget the Streets" a million times, and I've listened to this a million times.
And you still put this on, but you
I
don't.
still want to listen to this, and "Don't Forget the Struggle." I'm always blown away by, how great it is, but I don't really have the desire to listen to side B. This is like solid the whole way through. It's probably my favorite album to like drive to, and like nice open traffic when I can speed, and it's got like the nice like I don't know, tempo wise it's all over the place. The guitar is shredding, the singing is fucking perfect. Where the guy is just like pushing it, like kind of how we were talking about Gorilla Biscuits. He's going for it, dude, and like lyrically, like you are scared, like love it. Piano shit is fucking sick, next level. And that's it. I love this record. It's top 5 for sure for me. And
You should. And
that's all. Now you can apologize for shitting all over one of my favorite records ever, Daniel.
the funny thing is that I absolutely didn't shit all over it. That's how personal this record is to you. That you instantly got offended.
This is gonna be like, I swear to God, when Greg tackles doing a band of this style, it's gonna be amazing, and you're gonna come around to it eventually.
When we're doing like deep cut hipster choices, like my last one is like mad deep cut fucking hipster.
Well, Daniel will be
Go for it.
Hopefully Daniel shits on your head as well.
I'm not.
Well, I
like Verbal Assault.
Yo,
I like it. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, in the pantheon of everyone putting together the lists, I'm just saying this is a little bit of a left field choice, which is great. That's the great thing about doing this, and you're in the corner with your head in your hands, rocking back and forth, going, "He talks shit on Verbal Assault."
Well, wait till the '90s, fool. Wait till the '90s and the 2000s. I mean, yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna go for one that is not a hipster choice. No, it's not. It's not a hipster choice. Verbal Assault is not a hipster choice. But I'm going to go for one that is, I think, the pinnacle of a genre. Like the cherry on top of a perfected genre that we're not in this alone. YOT.
perfect.
I mean, I think it is truly the pinnacle of the Youth Crew sound that, you know, we discussed earlier that they were trying to sound like AF on Break Down the Walls. And I mean, nothing sounds like his vocals on Break Down the Walls. It sounds like you've trapped a mountain lion in a cage and you're sticking it with
But
the
you're
stick.
going, we're not in this alone, not
Yes.
Break Down the Walls.
Yeah, exactly. I'm saying the evolution of, okay, I've got the aggression, I've got the row, row, but you can hear all the words.
The crew shot in the back too.
Oh my god! And the front, like the holding of the.
Yeah.
I mean, how many people have held their hand in that way just to take a photo? I have. The one thing that's strange for me is just 1X hand, though. That's always puzzled me. But I mean, truly,
Well, remember, like, it used to be cool to have like one earring.
yeah. Well, 1X was what they would do. Technically, where they started. The X being the symbol for straight edge was because one hand would be X when you would go into 21 and up place as an underage person, you know. But
You should only get one X for your first 10 years. Or no, until you pass drug-free adult.
yeah, that's right.
And then you have to go in front of Daniel and have him decide if you get your second X.
I will be the
Put up your
judge.
qualifications.
The vocals on this, I mean, they're so aggressive, yet they're so controlled. They're so tuneful. And you can tell he's bouncing off the wall of the studios while recording them. Like, there's a live element to them. There's so much, like, power packed behind.
It's weird because it sounds like even more powerful and aggressive than Break Down the Walls.
Yeah, and
And how do you
we're talking about intros?
how do you get both those? How do you get both of those?
Yeah.
Like, is more powerful and more aggressive? Like, you think that you'd lose a little bit of like
Yeah,
the
well,
aggressiveness
if-
by like cranking up the power.
Yeah, if you're legible or, you know, it's audible to hear the words, you would think, oh my God.
Hey, am I tripping or are there different mixes?
There are
There
different
are.
mixes.
Yeah, so that was like
Which press of Caroline do you have, man?
yeah, which that confused me when I like first was listening to some of these records. Is I was like, I heard we'd be hearing two different mixes.
The
Now-
remix is definitely better.
Yeah.
obviously, you know, that's why they
So what is
stuck
the-
with it. And then
so
they
like
did
the remix is better.
yeah.
And so
There's actually 3 mixes because he for the Rev when it went to Rev he polished it even more a little bit.
and that's the current one.
That's
you get?
the one that like if you listen to it on Spotify or whatever or buy it as a LP from Rev now, that's what you're gonna hear. The one thing
I think I sold my Caroline one. I'm gonna check out my list right now.
the one thing that when we talk about like just different like one things that matter so much to you about a record that somebody else may just that's just a throwaway song or that's just a part on something. The song "Live Free," which is I want
to live fucking free.
I almost think it's directed to the Warzone, like Don't Forget the Struggle, like and the American Pride, American Skinhead movement that was all over NYHC. It's kind of like, yo, we can protest and still be here, you know, love it or leave it. Like, why don't we just try and stay and try and make it better? But the one thing I love is the fast mosh part. It's like, bam, 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 bam. Like, it's so fucking ill. That part, whenever I play it on my record player, when that song plays, I go back and I keep dropping the needle just to hear that song. And to a lot of people, that's not the banger on the record at all, you know. Also, you know, they broke up just for a mini. YOT broke up and then came back for this after Ray had been in India like Zach.
At least,
doing the same thing.
his girlfriend didn't leave him the day he got home from India.
Yeah, and he was watching no TV. He was just what were they doing? What was this whole spiel?
Oh, the
No
Around the
TVs,
shrine.
shrines,
yeah, no
yeah.
Tuesday
around the
was
shrine.
around the shrine.
But that.
Oh yeah, like
Again,
I just got goosebumps just talking
Yeah.
about it, and that,
And then Into
I've
Slow
listened to this
Down.
record 1,000 times.
and then Into Slow Down, which is like that break when like the guitar's cut out and it's just the bass and the drums going. Well, that's one of the greatest hardcore things there is.
yeah, I mean,
Yeah, but I'm talking on the break when it
Yeah.
cuts out. It's like
Well, this is what Youth Crew is. You know, they're called Youth Crew because it's this band.
Sure.
Is the genre, you know? So
Keep It Up. We're a song on the record, and they put it last, and I like that.
but no more. The ambiance at the beginning, like
Yes.
you kind of have to listen a little bit.
Yeah.
Like because the production, you're like, what's going on?
Hey,
You know?
his vocal flow on that track too is just so fucking crazy.
Well, and the backups they gave the kids singing backups, not just 3 hoo. It's like you know, like a sentence.
Yeah.
You know, and then the breakdown on that because they're starting to educate the friends, the
family, and we'll have a more conscious, caring society.
Like they have the kids sing that part as a backup, like
As
some
they should sing
mouthful
it.
words. Do you know what I mean?
It's a fucking great song.
And the video we were talking about
Throwing the cheeseburger.
the best, the hand on the shoulder
It's
and
just
the
like,
shake
don't
of the
do
head.
that, man.
What is this a better vegetarian song or is Cats and Dogs?
I think Cats and Dogs is arguably better, but I like this better because it has a little bit of unintentional comedic value. But also, I think No More.
It's a mission statement.
I think Earth Crisis wouldn't exist without No More. Like straight up.
The
Their
lyrics
mission
on this
statement-
chorus is the greatest vegetarian shit there is. No more looking out for myself.
Yeah. It's
beautiful.
brilliant. And
But the angle that GB took on it is a smart angle that people can
because
like
everyone can relate
understand.
to. Yeah. Why is this better?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that makes sense.
I think, you know, just the imagery of the merch and stuff around this too, like all those classic Youth Crew t-shirts and obviously the classic look that everyone's gone from fanzine picture to record cover to recreate. Just, I mean, it's ill. I still want to look exactly like this, but I'm fat. So no more.
You gotta walk a little more. No more taking the BART, fool.
No, the
Take your bike.
No, the best shit ever is like the Youth Crew do with the athletic gear that is not an athlete. That's still one of the best styles ever.
So,
I love it.
no, that's sick style. How many more do you have?
I have one more.
Great.
One more.
I have one more and
I can't wait to hear this out there one. I want to hear the crew.
all right, it is.
I got two more though.
It is Circle One Patterns of Force.
I don't wanna fight for a wrecked on. I don't wanna be a puppet on a string. See the blood flowing like oil wells. While the rich man makes money off of me. Like Sparks and Lucian up, then again they call it for Sucky Struck and Mission True. Like Sparks and Lucian up, then again they call it for Sucky Struck and Mission True.
Great.
So
I don't even know it.
yeah, so this is one
To be truthful.
yeah. So this is
But if you were going to Fenders in '82, you would learn it and have that dude keep you safe.
so. First of all, this is a fucking wild sounding LP.
Is this Big Frank's band? Is that
No,
what you
No,
were-
Macias.
John Macias.
Oh, okay.
So this is, I think it's such a forgotten gem, and it's completely like overshadowed by everything.
What's it overshadowed by? What do you mean?
I feel like every other SoCal release at that time, Patterns of Force. Like, I mean, who's talking about?
Is it still in print?
I have like a weird reissue.
How do you have it? Do you have it on?
I have a 12-inch. Like, I'm
Okay.
I'm blanking on who did
Oh, I
the
have
reissue
two
of
left.
it.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
But this is such a crazy sounding album. I mean, like, dude, they were a tight band. Playing's fucking super good, really adventurous sounding, and then just the whole like their logo with like the circle with the guns,
Yeah,
and like
iconic.
first of all the name Circle One,
Yeah.
and then they have this whole like religious vibe, like they were called the Family.
Yeah.
So they're
well,
like
that's
these
their,
like
their gang.
they're like ass beater punks on some like weird like Christianity thing, but probably not being very Christ-like at all, but more on this like, no, like we are loved, like it's okay that you're weird, like you are a lost child, come with us kind of vibe. So it's got this like really like out there fringe society element to it. And it's just like ripping fast, like SoCal hardcore punk, like that song Destroy Exxon, where it's just like, he's just talking about like see the blood flowing from oil wells while the rich man makes money off of me. And then his vocal delivery, like he doesn't yell, like he's always like doing a melody. He's like, but it's so fucking aggressive. And there's a track called Beware where it's just like
Coco.
They're just talking about like, we live for him, so we don't care. Like, you know, judging us by the spot of our hair, like style of our hair. So such like a wild band. And then he ended up dying because he was like schizophrenic. He's actually like shot by the police because I think he was like on the pier, like on like, I think it was some pier
Like
in
Huntington?
Yeah, and he was just like,
I saw that documentary Falling Down about that.
as another.
What's this?
Motherfucker, give me your motherfucking briefcase.
So that's why.
So that album was on Upstart, which is crazy because that's what the Stolly is on.
Yeah,
Also,
and it makes sense because it's still like I don't know, and because I was debating like Stalag 2 for that spot, but I just something about how it's very hipster-y of to have this choice, but it's such like a weird, forgotten, and like kind of like
Deserves to be talked
mysterious
about.
thing. I think it like really deserves to be talked about, and I think I want more people to listen to the record because it's such a trip. There's like it's like sometimes like weird psychedelic vibes on it, so it's weird like Manson family kind of style shit, and I feel like it's as fringe and like totally like fuck society, but like we have found each other kind of vibe, which is as hard. That's as hardcore as you're gonna get. So
Puke and Vomit did a repress in 2010.
that's the one I have.
It's still the cheapest one on Discogs is $40.
Yeah, I have the Puke and Vomit.
They need to
thing.
do another press.
Yeah, it's fucking super good.
Do you have all the other records by Puke and Vomit?
They do a lot of good represses. Like
They do.
I'm trying to think about what they just did that I bought.
It's just such a funny, like,
It's-
hey, Jim here from Puke and Vomit.
I know. Well, they're like affiliated with that store Radiation out in Anaheim,
Yeah.
like that super punk store, and they do good represses, man.
And my last I would Hall of Fame this one. For me, I would personally Hall of Fame this one, and it would be like an honorable mention, I guess, for other people. But Infest Slave LP. And that, I mean, you want to talk about another like genre defining.
I think that can absolutely be Hall of Famed. It doesn't speak to me on a personal level. Like, I've never been that like Infest dude or any of those.
You know what? That was on my
bands that are
fucking list.
influenced
Dude,
by it.
just the opening.
But it should be Hall of Fame.
Just the opening track, Break the Chain.
Yeah.
Which there's like, there might be like, I think it's like a fucking 30-second song, and there's like a ridiculous amount of tempo changes, and it's not done in some like, oh hey, like we're like math jazz guys, like we're gonna like drop tempo. It's just like, oh, I got this fast part, and we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that, and like there's so many just like crushing jams on this.
No, this should be Hall of Fame.
It should be Hall of Fame.
Do you think Infest is loved as much across the country as it is in California?
Well, I don't have that perspective.
No,
but I'm just saying that's
recently,
traveling, you know.
just recently when they've done their reunions, and I mean any show that they play, whether it be like Philly, Texas, you know, anywhere that they're getting flown out to, I mean the reactions are fucking insane.
Wild, right?
Are
Yeah.
wow, because they're such like
They were a mystery band for a lot
They
of
were a
people.
mystery
Not-
band.
Not to California, because those dudes would still come around to
but they're-
shows.
I just think it's such a genre defining band, and just creating a blueprint that, you know, every kick and fall. And it's also one of those bands too that like even a kid that's just like, oh, I only listen to like moshy kind of like metalcore stuff. No, like you could show them parts at like Infest and they're like, yo, this shit's fucking like, this is sick.
Arguably, this could, you know, we've discussed Discharge.
I think you gotta hit the horns.
Yeah.
Chuck this into the Hall of Fame.
This baby for sure. And that's it. I'm tapped out.
All right. Well, I got 2 left. I got the Stalag 13. That you considered.
Does this one have Bailey on it?
Can we talk about?
Unfortunately, it does not have Bailey.
Can we talk about Stalag, please?
Okay, here's what I think about this.
I will say the artwork is untouchable.
The artwork is beautiful. It's sick going for like yellow. That's kind of like an interesting twist. For it being so old, like 84, and like it's them trying to sound like Minor Threat. It's 100% them trying to sound like Minor Threat, but then like the dude Ron hits it with like the singy voice, and it's so clean sounding.
Black
and
gray.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. Is like how we talk about Uniform Choice doing Once I Cry, Stalag 13 doing Black and Gray, and it just being like so heartfelt and like musically is beautiful, and it's like it's a rager, but it's like melodic,
exactly.
And it's like kind of everything.
Which is so hard to do, to make like an absolute rager track where it's like dudes are probably like slamming, like taking people's heads off, but they're like crying at the same time.
Yeah. It's like the guy that like gets in a fight and then like he's crying because he's so emotionally overwhelmed.
Yeah.
It's the one when they break up with their girlfriend, they put it on a mixtape. Like, here you go.
No,
Black
this is like it's so also this song, like we've talked about, like bands where it's a time and a place. Also, like District 9 only exists in early 90s New York City, right? And it's because so many different elements come together and let you create an album that wild. This Stalag, like, you know, why didn't they go on Mystic? Why did they end up having an album that sounds like so bright and clean and good? Also, like this song, like they re-recorded this song. They re-recorded it like it's kind of like their Face-to-Face Disconnected. It's on every single record, you know, because they know it's a classic, but it's like it never sounds like this 84 version where it's like there's so much like soul in it. It's crazy. And then also like they're going for the Minor Threat sound, but they have like what are you looking for? That has like it's kind of like darker notes, right? It's like it's like
it's just his melodies.
Those are like
top, yeah.
It's a darker melody, but it's still melodic, you know. And so there's just a little bit of boundary pushing, and you know, Blake Cruz is probably like 15 or 16 writing riffs, and you have Dave Casillas, who's like a certified shredder at that point.
Yeah, and just the production on that record, and just also too like, and I still get chills hearing it when No Excuse comes on. It's just like boom, 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 boom. Like I can't think of like anything more fucking Southern California sounding.
Well,
like
dude,
that. Like,
I got a treat for you.
Have you ever heard Bro Him?
I got a treat for you. Stalag 13 did a metal demo in like 86, and they do a metal version of that song.
That's fucking like. It's like, that is like right up my fucking.
It's not though.
No,
I
don't know. I might like it.
They have a 10-minute song on that demo, so I don't know what.
Right in the Ancient Mariner is 13 minutes.
Is it like when Wasted?
It's Iron Maiden, not Stalag trying to play metal.
Is it like when Wasted Youth did Black Days?
I can't describe it.
Yeah.
Like it's like I don't know. It's weird. I think what it is it's like kind of some of the demos that ended up going with Larry to do part of the third Dr. No album, maybe.
Yeah.
But man, Kyle must have chopped them up a bit. Is everyone else tapped out?
No, I have 2 left.
Oh, you have 2. Go ahead.
So I'll do 1, and then you go for your last, and then my last one is like the perfect leaving point of the 80s, really.
Wow.
The second Circle One record.
The Crew, 7 Seconds.
I don't wanna grow up, I'm never getting old. I'm gonna work, I'm not fun, I drink to stay alive. I'm gonna stay young until I die. I'm gonna stay young until I die. You grew fast, now you die soon. I'll never fucking be like you.
I'm so glad this got on there because I felt guilty not having it.
Yeah.
It's fun. It's a great record.
Yeah.
I listened to it all the time in high school.
Yeah, there's also, you can say that it is a high school kind of, it appeals to your high school sensibilities.
Hey, it's 1981. Look at what's up.
But it's still, I mean, I listened to it in the formation of this list, and I'm just like, basically the way I look at 7 Seconds is, Kevin Seconds was writing letters to Ian MacKaye. Like, this band is, let me take some Minor Threat, let me take some Bad Brains, let me take some Misfits, and mix it all up with a really positive slant. I want to be not preaching, but I want to be espousing like absolute positive stuff within the scene, because there's a lot of, negativity. And it's perfect. I mean, it takes that Misfits, it's not quite as tuneful as the Misfits, but it attempts to do that, which then, because this is California and Reno, Skino stuff, but it starts to become like a Southern California trope, within hardcore, is this kind of the O's and woes.
But I think one of the things that I think is so interesting about this album is like where Young Till I Die is like sequenced in. It's like they didn't even like know it was.
They never heard of iTunes.
they never knew that it was going to be like the fucking juggernaut hit that it would be. It's just like it's literally just chucked in there like, oh, it's a song, but you think you'd put it on like the 1 spot or the 3 spot or the 4 spot or first song on side B.
But you know what's straight up front is Not Just Boys Fun.
Yeah,
I mean, track 3, I think.
Well, I prefer the Good Clean Fun version.
But just think of that at this time period, Not Just Boys Fun.
Well, how about the one about on the second album? I like that one even more. The pro girl song, "Open Your Eyes, 'cause it's time we'll say, time we're all treated equally."
Well, I think the Not Just Boys Fun though, it's so basic that it really gets across to all the meatheads that are being dicks at shows, and it's like, this is not just boys fun. And it made girls so proud to go up front and sing along. And, I don't know. I just think it's such a important statement.
But if Good Clean Fun liked it, could it really be that good?
I love watching those old flip side videos, like those video comps, and you can see them playing, and they're playing like, Olympic Auditorium or like one of those places. So like they're playing to like just the most insane crowd, and like Kevin's up there and he's just like, they're about to do like Definite Choice. He's like, look, I'm not preaching straight edge. I'm just saying that like there's other ways of like doing things. So it's like he's like trying to address this crowd, like not in a preaching manner, like, because it's still in this era where there's like no rules, dude, kind of shit.
Yeah.
But,
who are you to tell me how to live?
But he's just like, and then or just like the fact that like in that same thing, he's just like, all right, but what I'm not standing against is like, there's no racism here. It's like, we got to be tight as fuck. And they bump it, like, just hit it in the anti-Klan. And, like, it's one of those bands that, like, another thing where it's like, you can be melodic, but still super fast. And, like,
that's what I was saying. It's the Misfits, Bad Brains, Minor Threat, like, blender.
And this is why, like, for me, and, like, I love the Crew, but, like, for me, like, Screaming for Change just tops it a little bit better. So that's why I, like, didn't really include the Crew.
Well, there would be no Screaming for Change without this record, right?
What year is this?
84 or 83? I didn't do my
because they're definitely
due diligence.
You didn't put all your years next to records?
Well, because they're both like, they were both active right around the same time. So,
I mean,
I like the second one more.
Clenched
I like
Fist,
Walk the
Black
Other-
Eyes.
I like Walk the Other, Rock the Other more.
That was good. I mean, that was just a
It sounds so bright.
sliver away from being this choice, but this choice just came first, which is such a statement. There's a statement behind this band, so that's why I choose The Crew over.
The record
Walk
color is
Together.
better. The Crew looks better.
Yes, but I like the secondary Rock Together with the illustration, not the Pusshead.
Yeah.
It's weird to know that that's a Pusshead record cover with them looking like a new wave clown band.
Yeah. I don't like either of those covers. I just like The Crew. I like the cover of The Crew.
Yeah, no,
I prefer blue lettering.
no, it just pops.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think they're an absolutely important band, and there's a reason that all the way up to maybe all through the 2000s, we were driving to LA to still see 7 Seconds and go up front and sing along. And one time at Chain Reaction, we were all up front singing along, and Rob got jumped on by a stage diver that had obviously shit his pants. And landed right on Rob's head.
Yeah, it was like me earlier during verbal assault.
All right, what's your next?
What do you think it is? Still repeat. What happens
Of
next?
course, I knew it was, but
The greatest LP ever.
Fill it up, fill it up, fill it up! Right! Now you're pretty fucked up, I guess it's time to leave. You start with the gun, got away to win. Feeling pretty lucky, there's no cops anywhere. You blew no gas, and you know they don't care.
I thought you liked the band What Happens Next more than you liked Ill Repute.
Oh yeah, that's right. I mean, it starts off with Oxnard, "Get Out of Here," and then the second song, "What Happens Next," is like so fast and crazy, and it's like you almost can't hear the drums during the first fast part, and it's just like, what is going on? Like it's like the musical equivalent of on Peanuts, like when they're tumbling around, like when the animals are fighting and shit. It's just crazy. But then there are these well thought out tentpole songs, like Book in His Cover, iconic bassline start.
Yeah.
And then lyrically, I mean, I'm writing a Retaliate record right now, and I talk in one of our songs. It's spoiler alert, I wrote a fucking another Oxnard song, right? And it's like,
What?
Yeah, why? And it's like living our lives by words from a book in the cover, and it's like, because the fucking lyrics, they really are it's so positive, and we're just dudes, but because we're into punk and crazy music, you think we're shitty, and they're like, we're just dudes, man.
Dude, just his vocal delivery was just people say we're not living
Yeah,
the life
that we should. I never listen to them. I only done the best I could, because the way I am is the way I like. I won't change for anyone. My morals are good. My values are right. Doesn't mean I'm all bad, because I have fun. The way I look, it don't mean shit. It's what's inside that counts. I try to be nice. I'm always polite, but still you go and have your doubts. Fucking brilliant, dude.
And
Yo, if I had to make
What Happens Next Ill Repute just sued 185 Miles South for the entire use of that song.
if I had to make a whatever well, you don't say mixtape anymore, you say playlist now, but if I had to make a playlist for a younger kid, it'd be oh hey, I want to listen to hardcore punk or whatever, Book by Its Cover would totally be in there, because that is such like you said, with the bass line, and just if what he just says in the opening lines doesn't hit you and immediate, then you're not gonna be part of the culture.
And that's it's like unity.
Yeah.
It's it's a full unity song without calling for unity, right? It's this is who we are. Try to be a good person.
Yeah, the way I am don't mean shit. It's what's inside that counts.
Yes, so sick.
My introduction to Ill Repute was Big Rusty Balls.
Well, John has lived a clean life, I think his whole life. He's solid 13 claims straight edge, even though Brandon Cruz says they were doing acid the whole time. But
in moderation.
Yeah.
Shout out to James Spring.
well, Frosty only drinks when he's thirsty.
God.
But no, so they have like kind of some of the songs. So "Fill It Up" is a great anti-drinking song, about anti-drinking and driving. Anyway, this record's fucking great. Of course, the album cover is great.
Cherokee Nation too.
Cherokee Nation, yeah, it's super jam. Again, it's like one of those ones like I've heard forever and ever, and I don't get excited about it. Like I don't get excited about
the
like
institutionalized of the record. Yeah, I got you.
But yeah, I mean, great.
What's our artwork?
Perfect. That artwork is out of this world. Totally. Same dude from the Stalag, Jaime Hernandez. I wish he would have done.
I mean, why did that guy not work for Marvel?
Well, because he does Love and Rockets. He's very famous for his own stuff.
I'm just saying, why is he not like regarded as?
Why did he not draw another year cover like I wanted him to? Man,
did he refuse?
Yeah, Mandel gave us a budget. He refused, but I'm gonna still work on him.
Retaliate.
No, I got
185 miles south.
I got Walsby doing Retaliate right now. Who drew the Narco cover?
When IC did the reunion and when Ill Repute played, like that's like one of the coolest pits I've been in my life, because it was just like it was so sick because it was like such a good like slam pit, but it wasn't done in this like Warped Tour / fairgrounds kind of way. Like it was just like straight up like everybody knows the fucking game and the deal, and it was just like some of the most styling circle pits I've ever been involved with, for sure.
Yeah, that night had
I love the dudes
vibe.
that point to the stage regardless of the direction they're going into.
Yeah.
Oh,
like a gymnast. You don't want to get dizzy, dude.
Some of the coolest strutting I've ever done and seen.
All right, well now Daniel is gonna take us out with the greatest album from the 80s.
Oh, it's not a case of that. I'm saying it's a good transition point to go into the 90s.
Nah, you can rewind this, and you just said that this was like the greatest thing of the 80s.
No.
Pretty sure.
Maybe the perfect transition. We'll take that.
Because it's strange. It shouldn't really. It's debatable whether it's allowed, but embrace.
Dude, I knew.
Hey, I listened.
I knew some of this fucking shit was not shit. Great record, but it's just like
What did you say earlier? Like, I love Daniel being flabbergasted at choices is my favorite part. Well, you just did an extra flabbergast there.
Flabbergasted Daniel is my favorite character on the show, but
Hey,
dude, we said hardcore because fine. Then I choose Bad Religion Suffer. There's a lot of albums I like.
Don asked. I was speaking with Don coming onto this about what the list would be, and Bad Religion Suffers on his 5 of the 80s.
Yeah, well, I would. Yeah, I didn't do what I consider like that kind of punk.
Well, if we're talking about
punk.
if we're talking about like that style, and I don't know if we can haul. If
It's
you guys
not
want
hardcore. It's not
Hall of
hardcore.
Fame this one.
So you might as well just listen.
Well, I said possibly the beginning of post-hardcore.
I'm going with Master of Puppets. Fine.
Well, no,
Wow. How come every time the number 5 on my list just gets shit on?
I mean,
Not a hardcore record.
well, yo, because we're
Not a hardcore record.
I'm trying to open up the conversation a
so-
little
And weren't
bit.
wasn't he just like, that was like just the whole like, oh, hardcore's dumb now kind of thing, right?
I would arguably say evolution, not revolution.
Fuck it, I'm going Master of Puppets.
Yeah, I back that.
If we're choosing non-hardcore records,
the only kind of if
Tom Waits, Rain Dogs. You're not gonna go with the Smiths album?
Yo, if I'm gonna listen to like, if I'm gonna listen to anything in the ballpark of that, it would be Can I Say from Dag Nasty.
Well, I would.
I think
that
that-
would
I think
count.
that
would
counts.
count.
I would Hall
And
of
so
Fame
would
that
this.
fucker because I think that's a
And
perfect record.
I think you could have argued for Hall of Fame.
Insert Cameron, you mad meme across the boards right now. Cameron is pointing at both of you. I think that
Now I'm just with Zach. I like.
As
like
I got into
hardcore.
hardcore, this was an essential, like, given to me at the time. I regarded this as a hardcore record as I got into hardcore.
And you were wrong.
Well, I feel like that makes sense for like it's San
not-
Diego at the time,
Very
right?
much,
So it's
yeah.
like, of course, they're fucking with
I know, but
this
facts
more
are
than
facts,
anything
and
else.
this is not a hardcore record. There has to be There has to be some like.
Okay, then Rock for Light is my fifth if I'm being shamed into another choice. But, you know, maybe SST. Or also Faith Void Split did not get mentioned either.
Ooh, that's.
But these are all my honorable mentions because Embrace is in there at number 5, baby.
I mean, so, dude,
No More Pain.
People-
I just that song in general.
People. I
No
just
more
I knew
alcohol.
that I knew you were gonna go there,
It's
and like
a
I was so
Kool-Aid
hoping.
substitute.
I was hoping this pod would rise above. And when we say hardcore, we're talking
There's
about
no
hardcore.
Black Flag on your list, so how dare you tell me?
Well, this my favorite stuff is the 70s. What year's Jealous again? Is that 1980?
I think that's.
It's still 79. It's got to be
Is
79.
it? Or it might be
well,
80.
anyway,
Damage came out 81.
We're talking about Embrace here, guys.
Right.
Damage came out in 81.
And I'm not choosing
so,
it
yeah.
because it's like it's re-recordings with my least favorite singer. So it's still better than the Embrace record,
No,
though.
Jealous Again is
Oh,
probably.
God.
I don't think it's gonna get any better than that one.
Look, I like the Embrace record. I just don't think it's a hardcore record. And that's why I didn't choose Bad Religion Suffer, and that's why I didn't choose Raining Blood. Raining Blood. Don't get at me.
Hey, you know what? I avoided.
ASAP.
Okay, I avoided a lot of that Revolution Summer stuff and a lot of that later Discord stuff because when I was younger and I was like, I want hardcore, and I'm like reading like interviews and all this shit, and they're just like, oh, ew, you know, like ew to everything, and like I get
There's context.
I know there's context, but like when you're like a fucking teenager, you're just like, man, fuck these dudes.
Yeah.
And like I completely get like why they were like fed up with shit and why this is like, oh, like people are just coming out, they don't give a shit, they just want to like hurt someone or just be ridiculous, and like we want to like evolve, you know. But for some reason I always attach this like pretentiousness to it where it's just like, oh, okay, I'm not even allowed to like have fun, and you know, I don't know, it's just like ill repute and stalag shit's gonna speak to me more than any of this stuff.
And
Apparently, you could have gone with Infectious Grooves.
I mean, yeah, I mean, I will gladly listen to Infectious Grooves over the Embrace.
okay, well, I'm doing my own podcast soon out of Oakland called 400 Miles North. You guys should tune in. It's gonna be fucking sick.
It's going to be Embrace and Rise of Spring
Yeah.
on loop.
Yep.
On
Yeah,
loop.
And all this macho dickhead bullshit
Yeah.
that they were talking against.
Yeah, so
gonna be wiped out.
anyone that just doesn't like hardcore, tune into 200 to 400 miles north.
Oh, fuck.
Don't
Okay,
ever
well-
stage dive ever again.
Do you like stage diving? Then here's a show not for you. It's 400 miles north.
Stage dive into this barrel of acid, you meathead.
So, we actually ran out of time. So, we're just doing Hall of Fame in the 80s. And we'll do the 90s and the aughts.
The noughties.
The naughties. Where does that come from?
You say zero in England as naught. Mm-hmm. So that decade in England is called the noughties. Like the 90s to the noughties.
Yeah.
Then how would you say naughty?
Same.
Oh, really?
But it has different connotation.
There's like not an extra little thing.
But it's also,
let me
I think it's also,
Well, we're rapping. Let's keep it cool. So that's-
yeah, what's up, planes?
You can hear the planes. I hope you guys both enjoy your Nardcore records, courtesy of Fred Hammer and It's Alive fanzine.
Respect to Fred Hammer.
Shout out
Hell
to
yeah.
Fred.
Yeah, Fred is killing. Well,
Eternal respect to Fred Hammer.
he will have already been on by the time this airs.
That's been my thing. How was he not a first 5 episode person.
I don't know.
Disrespect to Fred.
No,
I can't, no, I'm joking. Don't get
Not everything
offended.
is a ranking, dude.
No, it's not a ranking. It's
I don't
an
know.
ease of doing it. Obviously,
You were number 6, and if I was going favorites, you would have been number 1, bud.
that's right.
Anything else we want to drop on the 80s? I'm really glad some of that stuff got in there. I'm so glad that you got Suicidal in there. I'm so glad you got 7 Seconds in there. I think that was a good list. Yeah, and I'm glad we let it be known that this was a hardcore of the 80s.
Well, here's the interesting thing, because I was just talking to Lewis outside, who's younger. He's younger generation, and
He's people will know him from last week's episode.
Exactly. There you go. So
Episode 26. This will be 27.
So he asked me what my picks are, and I was like, oh yeah, I threw the first Suicidal record on there, and he's just like, well, that's a punk record, and
It's a hardcore beat.
well,
It's faster than punk.
and here's what's interesting about it, because I feel like so many of these records, like okay, so the term hardcore.
We should close.
Maybe we gotta close the window. I thought we were gonna do a 30-second rap.
I know what you're about to say, Greg. I think you're going to say that something was hardcore is now transitioned into punk because punk kids like it more.
Or it just became like,
Well, we do have Discharge on here, which is like the ultimate punker guy.
But
Because politically.
I told him, I was like, oh yeah, and I put Discharge here, nothing. He's like, well, that's a punk record. I was like, no, it's like a hardcore record, and it's just still that. When you say hardcore and how it's just such a fucking spectrum, right? Where it's like
Embrace is hardcore.
Well, wait till you guys see my fucking
no.
my 2000s. You guys are gonna be.
So I think it's just still funny that you can still bring up like something like the first Suicidal record, and someone's gonna be like, "That's a fucking punk record," or and I'd be like, "No, I would consider it." Well, it's hardcore punk, obviously, because I think. You mentioned it too, how on the last podcast, how as soon as like the 80s die, like the 80s like goes away, like hardcore, like
pre 84, you just like include everything, all the punk and all the hardcore.
Well, hardcore was called hardcore because it was the fastest, the hardest, the meanest.
That's why you have to include the Suicidal.
So that's why
Bad Religion.
Yeah, I mean it's almost like you have to call.
I know it's weird. That's weird because like I wouldn't include the Bad Religion stuff. That's 88. I guess you could include the first Bad Religion, but even that is weird.
How Could Hell is definitely
But it's
hardcore.
singing.
It's LA hardcore though.
Yeah, and it's funny too because I feel like there's this
Generator isn't.
Yeah, I feel like there's this time period where, and you touched on it on the last podcast, where at the end of the 80s, like hardcore takes like a huge decline, and then also too right in the mid 80s you get like that huge fucking crossover boom, right? So everyone's throwing solos, everyone's doing like the more chunky mosh riffs and that kind of style, and it almost looks like you just have like pockets of scenes like New York. It's like, no, we're hardcore. Like you have the Youth Crew shit. There's like certain bands that are like defining themselves as like hardcore, and then you say it's like right when the 90s picks up, you have like that punk revival explosion, right? Where all this like Warped Tour kicks off, and you have like Rancid's coming out, like all like Green Day.
Well, you have people that are like including Nirvana in punk as well.
Yeah,
so it's like Nirvana breaks, and they're like, oh, that's punk breaking, and then Green Day breaks 2 years later.
Yeah. So you have this
so
like
the 92 and the 94.
So you have this
91
like
and 93
alternative explosion, and then like you have like that whole Warped Tour scene, and then it's like that is now labeled like
Jesus.
This is unprofessional.
It's like that stuff is now labeled
Riverside.
It's like that's being considered. It's being called punk now, and now what's being called hardcore is like smaller stuff that is now happening in the 90s. So I think that's like an interesting thing to talk about too.
Well, I think
just like the titles of things changing, right? Like
exactly.
Well, as we discussed on the last pod, like you can find your own little enclave and dig into the deepest vein of what you're interested in hardcore, and it's still a part of the hardcore scene, but it might have nothing to do with New York hardcore. Do you know what I mean? Like Still Life or things like that were arguably,
Well, there was a lot of
undefinable hardcore.
there was a
bands.
lot of weird genre stuff going around up by us because of the Heart Attack and Evolution and all that, and the Pickle Patch. But yeah, I'm with you, dude.
Before we wrap on 80s, did anybody want to discuss an honorable mentions list of things that didn't quite get there?
I think you guys covered like
Tied Down. The only reason Tied
yeah.
Down's not there is because the 7-inch is
with you. 7-inch is
pinnacle.
better.
And the production on Tied Down is just a little
Thin.
kind of a little thin sounding.
A little thin, but like good songwriting. Tied down on
absolutely.
fucking leash. Perennial Redemption 87 song.
Well, we also touched on it very, very briefly while I was being yelled at and things were thrown across the table at me for the Embrace choice, but the Faith Void split.
Yeah, that's a weird one to not. I mean, that's almost Hall of Fame too. The 80s is iconic, right? You have is hardcore breaking wide open. So
The Faith Void split, where do you guys side? I bet you're both Void side.
yep.
Yeah.
I'm Faith side, personally.
I know
Like,
you-
that's my,
I listened to the last podcast.
well,
I know.
true. Rock for Light.
It doesn't mean that I
Obviously-
don't like Faith. I love the Faith side as well.
And Misfits, Walk Among Us, and Earth AD. Like,
So see, that would be the question for Lewis. He'd get you on saying that's punk for sure. But because I never.
But they were regarded a hardcore band.
Well, I would have never thought
Yeah,
about.
but
I would have never thought about using those.
Dude,
those are different.
No, because I think like right from the jump, they're just their own fucking thing.
Yeah.
Like right from the jump, they're their own thing for sure.
Are the Misfits a hardcore band?
Randy.
Are the Misfits a hardcore band?
Tough one. Yeah. I'd say
Yep. Say definitive.
Well,
right
if they're
now.
on, if they're if they get to be included, then my list might look different.
Yeah, but I mean, I think it's. I mean, they're peers to Negative Approach. They're
Necros.
peers to
So, yeah, they're all
Necros. They're
they're
peers
all
to
playing.
Minus Rat.
They're all playing amongst each other, but like from the jump, they are like
Otherworldly.
this other.
Well,
thing.
they're like the band that went the opposite way, right? Like they actually got more hardcore. Their last record is
Earth
the
AD
fastest
is-
one.
Yeah,
is a rip-
I mean, the
but then-
only other band I can think of, like they got more straightforward, would be like Dead Kennedys. You know, like their later stuff is actually
Oh,
the more
shit.
straightforward
we'll
stuff.
talk about another goddamn
Miss.
honorable mention.
Yeah.
I don't know. You
Yes.
gonna put? That, I just don't know. Like they might be the one that another one that like I consider just outside of hardcore. Like it's just that's perennial
No,
punk rock.
I gotta call.
That's
I
hardcore,
gotta call
though.
them a hardcore.
They
band
were-
for sure.
I don't know.
Germs and Dead Kennedys are the West Coast early West Coast representation of hardcore.
I'll call.
I'm just taking the
Germs
beat.
punk.
I'm saying the beat.
beats,
the
yeah.
beat faster than like the mid-tempo punk beat.
No, but DK had like fast beats for sure.
Yeah.
I know.
You know, but
yeah, I don't
and
know.
I'm gonna say like because Germs is just punk, like for sure. Like that's just like the last
It's
like.
LA hardcore
Yeah.
though. Do you know what I mean? Like it's tough because
It's hard to say.
But it's-
they were harder than
But
the
it's-
punk of their
but the
time,
thing- but
so
it's
it's
still-
hardcore.
Yeah,
it's
they're
still
hard in the bags.
super. It's still super snotty sounding though. You know what I'm saying? So
True,
got
but it's that
like,
transition
snarl.
right out
Yeah.
of the
No,
same way
it's-
that
it's-
Fear
It's
is.
the missing. Oh
know.
fuck! And then how can I not include? Yeah, another honorable mention.
Fear the record?
especially more beer too, for sure. And
Yeah, underrated sophomore effort.
no, but really like
SSD.
and that was another hard one
Jesus.
because remember
See,
how
people are listening to this and flipping out that these things are not either
They're
Hall
flipping
of
out that
Fame.
you chose Embrace over all these.
okay, but check.
But I mean, they're also
Okay,
flipping out that both
SS
Oxnard records
Look,
are
SSD
chosen over these two.
SSD control, and I
These
fucking
records are rippers.
kids
I'm
will have
not
their
saying they're
say. Like I listened to that like so many goddamn times, right? And it's just how it's like with like the "Don't Forget the Struggle" shit, where it's like you play these and they just become a part of you
Your
so
DNA.
much that it's almost like you don't ever have to listen to them again. So it's like that was kind of when I assembled my list. It's like the ones that I'd be like, no, I'm still gonna put this on and I'm gonna spin it. Where it's like
So Circle
you-
1 is better than SSD.
No, because like the SSD shit is like a part of me. Like I can
know.
play the fucking record in my brain.
Rhetorical.
Yeah,
It was.
no, I get
It
you, I
was
get you.
more just the fact that there are obviously Mount Rushmore records or
Yeah, that's kind of
Hall of
like
Fame.
there's so
stuff
much
that-
Hall
Yeah,
of Fame
Verbal Assault
shit,
Trial.
you know, here. But another honorable mention, and I still think it is the fucking best like melodic hardcore record ever is Dag Nasty's Can I Say. And
Did you get into that through Travis Barker's tattoo?
Megatron, bro. No,
That's a
That's how I
record
did.
that I've listened to that record so many times.
JK.
I may never want to listen to that record again.
really, no.
Well, Dave Smalley is just such a tool.
I don't know, dude.
you didn't like
those,
Down by Law, dude?
those comeback,
Or those
those comeback
DYS
songs
series?
were fucking sick.
Hey, can I
Comeback DYS songs.
can I please tell a DYS reunion story, please?
Please.
Is it
I don't
including
know.
John Anastas
Please, unless
and his
rap.
fedora and
Okay,
his wife
and
beater?
I'll wrap this one up. This is funny. So it's like Take Benz is doing a tour with Terror in Europe, right? So we meet up in like somewhere in East Germany, I think Leipzig or something. And DYS is also out there, so DYS gets added. Oh, and Death Before Dishonor is on the tour too, right? So they just did that, you know, cringy ass, you know, Boston to the end, BOSTON.
Like a Boston Terrier.
Yeah.
We were built to fight.
So yeah, and it sucks because it's like, yo, can you please like put on
You never saw this song.
No,
It's
what
a
a fighting dog.
Hey,
I know.
to close this podcast out, like just please put on like Wolfpack, like from DYS, please.
It is
like,
sick.
Okay, but anyways,
Yeah.
so
Chorus used to do it.
Yeah.
So-
really good.
Yeah.
so we get to the show and it's like everyone puts their back line up or whatever, and everyone, you know, the tour manager tells DYS like, oh hey, like, you know, you guys don't have to bring your shit in, like we got a whole back line, just, you know, bring your heads or whatever. But they're like, no, like we have to bring like all our own gear in and like put it in front and like sound check. And like they're super professional. And I think they had like a dude that played in the Foo Fighters or whatever, or like was like third guitar guy in the Foo Fighter tour or something, and then he was in the band. So they had this like really like professional, like we're here, like we got a line check, like we do all this shit, and which is already kind of like funky. And then anyways, the show goes on, all right, and like they're not really mingling with any of us. And but like Dave Smalley's like in like the backstage room and like
In a trucker hat.
yeah, and like Vogel comes in and he's just like, hey, I really like Can I Say a lot, like just starts talking to like about Can I Say, Can I Say, and he's just like, oh thanks, thank you, just like really like reserved, like quiet, just like really fucking awkward, right? And so the show goes on, so we play, and then like Death Before Dishonor plays, and then DYS goes on, right? So I have never fucking seen a band bomb like so fucking hard.
Did they play the song?
The BOSTON jam?
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. Like they're playing like all this like new shit. And then like they're playing their like older songs too, but they're like extending parts and like making it really like
They're doing it like Floyd, man.
yeah, like jamming it, like keeping it going. And then anyways, like the bass goes out, right?
John Anastas?
Yes. So the bass cuts out and like, oh, they all had like each dude has like three backup guitars, like backup basses. And
Are they in a bus?
no, they're all in a fucking like van. And it's just
wow.
like, dude, like your DYS, like you put out like the Brotherhood record, which is good, but it's not that good, you know.
Pretty fucking good.
It's good, but kids will ever say smokes it for sure.
Of course.
Okay, but just to be like going over there and like we're like, hey, we're bringing like I gotta have like 3 backup Les Pauls. Like it's just fucking absurd. Like even like bigger bands don't even really do that shit, right? So so the bass cuts out, and it's just like huge. It's just like I don't know, like probably 2,000 like German people over there, and there's like kind of a language barrier. So it's just like dead silence, and like the bass player is like, I think he's Jamie. I fucking forget his last name, but he's like freaking out, and so like
The bass player is John Anastas.
Oh, okay, yeah. So small.
Because he Does he play bass for DY?
So Smalley's just like on stage. He's like, "Oh, okay, hello everybody." It's just like crickets, right? And then he's just like, "So while on the road, as musicians, we like to play. We like to tell musician jokes to one another." Like this is how he was like delivering the joke.
I love
right?
the impression.
So it's just fucking crickets, right? And then he goes like, "So here's the joke." Like he's telling this to like 2,000 like German people that it's like total ESL. So like
They speak English better than him.
they do, but
Germans.
like it's not like they're gonna. So it's just like, how many guitar players does it take to change a light bulb? He's like, 100. 1 to do it and 99 to say, "Oh, I could have done that better." And it's just like fucking just crickets. And I turned around and like I looked at like their merch kid who's just like this like young like total Euro like straight edge kid, right? Who's like driving them. And like before the show, like I could tell like he was so stoked because he's just like probably like, "Yes, get to drive like legendary DYS, like straight edge man, Boston, like very cool, very very cool."
Dave Smalley.
Dave Smalley is very
That's a Wolfpack.
yeah. Listen to Wolfpack like that, and like I just like turn around and look at him, and he's just got his like head like buried into his
Like,
fucking
"Scheiße,
hands, like
my life choices."
like he's just like, "What did I fuck?" Like, "Oh, I'm gonna have like a rough like 2.5 weeks with these dudes." So that was like
He's also probably just cringing about the amount of equipment he has to carry back out of the venue.
and like never have I just been like you like just loved that record in high school and just like played it, and like they weren't doing the reunion thing, and you're just like just to see this and just to see what it's like turned into and what it is, just being let down like so
Yeah, that was a
hard.
weird reunion.
It's like
That's a weird
out
one.
of
Like,
all
why
of
do
them,
that one?
like they jumped the shark so hard, and I think they thought that they were gonna be like, "Hey, we can like fucking become like a Dropkick Murphys type."
yeah,
type
that's why they
band.
wrote that Boston song
And it
for
was
sure.
just like people were.
But did
So
you not
sad.
see them at that Sound and Fury?
No, I was there, and it was fucking whack too. Because
It was.
he threw it. He tried to like smash his bass on stage. He like threw it in the
I
air.
didn't see this. What year was that?
It was the year that we played. 2012.
Yo, you had
Was that in Santa Barbara?
You had the biggest circle pit that entire fest.
Was that Santa Barbara?
insane.
Yeah, it was
Yeah, that's at the Earl Warren Showgrounds.
But the DYS, there were some older, and even Tim came up for it. He's like, "It's fucking DYS."
I was
playing,
up front with him.
and all those old Chula dudes came by the merch booth. I was just like, how can you be excited for this? Look at them.
I don't think
This
they
is the
knew.
ultimate cash grab. Like,
Yeah, I don't think they knew it was going to be that bad.
Yeah.
I think they expected it to have like some.
but they came
shred
back
of dignity.
after. That was sick. I'm like, are you on crack? It was cringeworthy from the merch. I was like, oh my god. Fucking John Anastas was in a what's the clothing brand that did all the MMA fleur de lis shit, everything?
Tap out?
Ed
No.
Hardy,
Kind of similar.
something like that.
It started by Pat Dubar's brother. Anyway,
Jesus didn't tap?
he was in a wife beater of that and a fedora.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he had the fedora in Europe too.
And the fedora was like classic, oh my god, I've gone bald and I can't deal with it. But either way, it was just shocking, like how bad they were. And you know, I'm glad that they flubbed even with Euros, who,
Hey.
no offense to some people in
They're
Europe,
way more forgiving. Way more forgiving.
They will be like, no problem, come back.
Funny thing about that is the Jamie dude, like when his bass was like fucking up, and when he was like having a meltdown on stage, like trying to get in, and like he went to one of like the Death Before Dishonor dudes because of that Boston connection. I think he like was kind of like, yo, give me another bass, or like says it, and let's just say like he was like reminded and kind of like checked very quickly of like, yo, you don't talk to me that way. So it was sad.
Know your place, legend.
Know your fucking place.
What do you call a hitchhiking crusty punk? Stranded.